Today I'm gonna demonstrate the features in FutureThink by working through an interesting article that I read the other day that I found on Hacker News. Uh, so first what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give a little intro to FutureThink. This is a AI assisted mind mapping tool. Uh, Here's the main landing screen. When you land on it, there's going to be nothing on it. On the left-hand side, you can create layers, manage layers. Layers are conceptually like different kinds of ideas. There's a couple of AI assisted editors. You can right click and add things to it manually, save, load, some settings, things like that. Cool. All right, so let's just get started. So the first thing that I want to do is I have this article that I found, and I want to add it in. So I've got this article. Let's see if I can. I'm going to just copy and paste the whole thing in. Copy, paste. Okay, so that's the address. Trying to paste the text. Let's see. There we go. So the gist of the text is basically that um, the base of the text is basically that Ozempic is going to cause a bigger change to the market than AI is. And the reason is because it just changes the way that people work. And so many people will change their consumption habits as a result. Um, and so here we go. So what I want to do is I want to read through this article line by line and extract all of the information about how the economy will change over the next, I don't know, 4 years due to these are what are they like? GLP inhibitors, I think is what they're called. Yeah, I want to understand what is the market for software. How people will spend their time and eventually where new opportunities will arise in the market for software. There's a bunch of stuff in here. Maximum iterations is like, so when I hit submit, what it's going to do is it's going to take the prompt and it's going to take the article information and it's going to, under the hood, it's going to use Claude Sonnet 3.7 to just go over this over and over again to like extract information, like make improvements. And maximum iterations is just, it'll quit if it thinks it's done, but this is a way to like prevent it from kind of just like running away. So I'll go ahead and click that and hit submit. Then the next thing it'll do is it takes my prompt, it takes the text, and it'll start to iterate on it. Here you can see like how long it takes for a single iteration, and that'll vary based on how much information is in it, how much is in the prompt, like what it's trying to do in this step. And so here, what you can see is um, after it does one step, it'll give you back the reason why it's continuing to process and what the new prompt is that it's using. So here it says now add nodes to each layer. Okay, so I've established nodes for each layer, but we need to establish connections to show how they influence each other across domains. And then that'll take a little bit. Let's see, what is it doing? So while it's just kind of chugging along, I'll tell you a little bit about the underlying infrastructure. The way that this works is it's a Next.js application, and oh, great, we're done. So here you can see the results. There's a lot of stuff that's come back. I'm going to open up this side panel so that we can see things as we select them. So we've got a couple of layers here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of go through layer by layer and understand like what it is that we've got. So the GLP-1 drug impact, healthcare cost reduction. Uh, let's see. So things that are on the top is the source, things that are on the bottom are the target. So widespread adoption amplifies healthcare cost reduction. GLP-1 medications enables impulse control regulation. And that was actually one of the main points of the article. So we got those. So what are the consumer behavior changes? So let's go ahead and link these in because there seem to be some connections here. All right, impulse control regulation seems to be like a pretty central entity. Let's see what we got here. So GLP-1 enables impulse control regulation. Beyond weight loss, these drugs fundamentally alter impulse control mechanisms. Yeah, it's wild, but it's true. So we get reduced food consumption, advertising resistance, decreased alcohol spending, diminished impulse purchases. Those are all things that were like directly out of the article. All right, so we can get rid of this one for a second because I don't think it is going to be super direct. What do we got here? Just kind of organizing these. Okay, so decreased alcohol spending accelerates restaurant industry transformation. Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, oh yeah, and reduce food consumption. Both do that. Entertainment venue redesign. That's movie theaters. Yep, that was from the article. Okay, diminish impulse. Okay, so retail space repurposing. Okay, so all of this is stuff so far that's like directly out of the article. Let's look at just the economic opportunities. Health data analytics platforms. Employers can quantify the savings. Oh, that's interesting. Subscription-based business models, health incentive services. Okay, so these are actually pretty interesting. Now let's look at societal impacts. Oh yeah, the socioeconomic divide is a big one. Got to figure out something to do with that. That's already happening with all of the other things that we see in society. All right, so we're going to select all the layers. We can see it's kind of this big mess. I just want to reorganize it a little bit. We've got two, looks like two independent uh, kind of sets of nodes. So this one over here looks like kind of a social thing. And then this one over here, okay, this one's kind of off on its own. These are not well connected. Impulse management app, some of those things. Okay, so here in my virtual map, I can see a little better. This one is kind of disorganized. Let me reorganize that one more time. So this kind of a mess. These should just be in a line. Okay, this is not necessary. This is just me kind of tweaking to try to organize it a little bit so I can see it better. Uh, okay, just trying to understand a little bit more about like what is central to this and what is. Okay, this feels a little bit more organized. This one's tricky because it's like both the input and the output to some things. Okay. And so, yeah, so I could sit here and ponder on this for a little while and try to figure out what is really going on. But for the sake of just spending a little time having the AI work for me as well. Mm, so what is it here that I need to do? So there's like a couple of things, like there's some disconnected nodes that I'd like to bring in, particularly this health data analytics platforms. That seems interesting. I don't know if it kind of dovetails with some things that I'm familiar with. And the adaptive retail technologies is interesting as well. So let's go through and kind of expand on this idea, health data analytics platforms. Right. Health data. I want to expand it. So like I don't maybe some of these things exist, but I don't think that they're very widespread. I'm not really sure. So I want to explore the existing landscape, connect. I want to other trends that could be um, accelerating or what are the platforms decelerating? So I want to explore that idea a little bit more. I don't have web search like enabled right now, so this will all be like based on what gets pulled out of the language model. But the way that this works is, um, for the other part, it uses Sonnet 3.7, and for that it'll go and like use the Anthropic API to go through and do one at a time, like layers, like nodes, so forth. This process is done with like a reasoning model. And so after you write the prompt, what it'll do is it'll kind of think about it a little bit and it'll give you like what that thought process is that you could read through to understand it. Then it'll give you a few prompts that you can use yourself or edit and then use yourself, similar to the first prompt that we wrote. So, as a healthcare technology analyst, map the adjacent nodes. That sounds good. So I'll execute that one. Um, so, so right now it'll take the prompt that came out of the DeepSeek R3, which is a reasoning model, and then it'll use that to power Sonnet 3.7, and then you can kind of look at like the things that it made. So okay, it's made some connections for us. Um, we need to establish how health data platforms interact with existing graph elements, exploring new trends, connecting the healthcare cost metrics and workforce impacts reveals immediate leverage point. Specialists identify. Let's just do like the policy related accelerators to sellers. Based on 2024 to 2026 regulatory developments. Add layers, nodes, and as required. And then we'll execute that. And so we'll just kind of like loop over the graph under the when it uses the prompt, it includes the prompt as well as the current state of the graph so that it has the context it needs to know what layers don't exist, what nodes don't exist, and then create the connections between the nodes and the different layers as well. And so like we can go back and we can look at, yep, so because earlier, yeah, let's see here. Let me open up that sidebar. So we've got a couple of connections. It facilitates widespread adoption. Yeah, okay. Well, let's see if it's done. Okay. All right, it finished. Created a layer, a couple of entities, but no connections. Okay, so I need to make the connections back. As a competitive intelligence AI, analyze this relationship to health platforms. Develop 3 scenarios where. Yeah, I don't really like this one very much. I don't think that one's relevant. So I'll close that. And I'll just write my own here. Assume the connections between existing nodes and layers to better flesh out the relationship between so I just want to get a little bit better connections between the node that I'm really interested in exploring and the other stuff that's in the graph. At this point, I'll probably, like, after this comes back, I'll look at it and probably pause for a little bit to, like, really think about what's in the graph, what's missing from the graph, and what interesting directions might be to think about moving next. I might find some, I might export the graph and then use it in a prompt to suggest a couple of like web searches to find things on the internet, and then come back and then put those in, in the AI, it's let's reorganize this. What do we got going here? Right, there's a lot of stuff in here now. Let's see. These maps turn into spider webs. So here's the main one that I care about: health data analytics platforms. All right, so I've got more different interactions to consider here. All right. So let's see. Adaptive retail technologies integrates with it. Personalized shopping experiences aligned with users' health goals. Something to think about. HIPAA modifications. Oh, yeah, this is serious. If you're going to build a health data analytics platform, HIPAA is just like so central to that. Widespread adoption. I wonder how the Apple Watch and other similar things would feed into this. It seems like if you could integrate with the Apple Watch, you could get a lot of this health data analytics out of it. Well, maybe not all of it, but some stuff. Um, but I'll just pause there. So this was me just giving you like a brief demo of how I use FutureThink in order to kind of explore different ideas and synthesize, a bunch of different information and try to map it out to generate ideas, either for startup ideas or just like interesting places to go and explore. And yeah,